Hey, what's going on, guys? Today's lesson is going to be about how to play chord progressions in many different ways using the CAGED system. Okay, so you may have heard of the CAGED system. If not, I do have a lesson on it. I actually have a few lessons on it. I'll provide links to those so you can go check those out if you don't know what CAGED is. But anyway, basically, all CAGED is ways of playing different major chords up and down the neck. Okay, so for instance, let's start out with a basic chord progression that goes A minor to G major to an F major to an E major. Okay, now that was the bar chord way of playing that. Alright, now I'm sure you are familiar with open chords too, so you could also play that same chord progression using open chords. Okay. Now you could also play the same chord progression starting up here on this A minor on the 12th fret of the A string, and then you could just simply move down. Okay, so again, this is all bar chords. A minor to G major to F major to E major. Okay, so those are things that you may already know by now if you've been playing for any length of time. Okay, however, what might not be so obvious is that you can also play chord progressions such as that by mixing and matching the different CAGED shapes. Okay, so for instance, let's just we're just going to play on the high 4 strings, okay, for all these chords. So doing the chord progression that we started out with, you could just play an A minor like this. We could play a G major like this, or an F major like this, or an E major like this. Okay, so we're just on the D, G, B, and E strings. Alright, well, let's try doing the A minor here first. And let's try playing a different G major shape, maybe somewhere around here. Okay, so you know your root G is here. Okay, alright, so 10th fret of the A string, and this is the C shape of the G chord. Okay, so just sticking to those high 4 strings here, you would have a chord that looks like this. Okay, so right now, going from the A minor to the G major. Alright, now the next chord is the F major chord. Alright, so we know that we have an F right here, 8th fret of the A string. So you could play your F major bar chord here. Alright, or you could just kind of play the last 3 strings, the G, B, and D of that chord. Okay, so far we'd have an A minor to this new G to this F. Okay, now we have the E major chord. Alright, so if you wanted to, you could kind of just slide down from that F down 1 fret. Okay, and that would be an E major chord because that's coming from your E major bar chord here. Alright, another option for the E would be you could steal from the G shape. Okay, so the G shape, your root here is E, 12th fret E string. Okay, so you can play this. Alright, so you see how there's a couple different options for each of these chords. So we started out with this. Alright, and then by using the CAGED shapes, we came up with something like this. Okay, you see how I did that? So basically I'm just looking for these chords. We already know what the chords are, and just having an understanding of the fact that you can play chords in many different areas of the fretboards in different shapes. just having that understanding, you'll know that anytime you're looking for a certain chord, you're going to find it here, 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 you're going to find it here. It's just a matter of, knowing the caged shapes and, just figuring out where your root note is and then applying the correct chord in that spot. Okay, so let's try another example. We're going to try going from C major to G major to A major, or A minor to F major. Okay, so that's all right down here, kind of in the open position. C major, G major, A minor, F major. Okay, so let's try starting with this C major here. Okay, 8th fret, bar chord, rooted on the E string. Okay, but again, we're going to stick to these high 4 strings, the D, G, B, and E strings. So instead of playing the full bar chord, we're going to play just the high 4 strings. Okay, so that's your C chord. Now we know the next chord is a G chord, so let's try and find a G chord. Alright, so we know that from the last example, you have a G chord right here. Okay, here's your G root. Okay, but we're just sticking to the high 4 strings. Okay, so you have C, G. Then we go to an A minor. Okay, so you can keep going down. Here's your A minor here from the last example as well. Alright, now let's find a nearby F. We could either jump up to here and use that F that we used in the last example, or we can just stay with this A minor shape and put our middle finger down right here on the 6th fret of the B string, because here's an F chord using that C shape. Okay, so we went from the C major, which of course came from that full bar chord. Okay, and then we went to the G major, and then we went to the A minor, and then we went to the F major. Okay, and these are all coming from these other caged shapes. Alright, so, play it like this. Or like this. Okay, you're still doing C major, G major, A minor, F major. Alright, let's try another one with the same chord progression, the C, G to the A minor to the F. We're going to keep that same chord progression, only now we're going to start moving this way. Instead of moving down the fretboard, we'll move up the fretboard. Okay, so started from the same C. We could then go up to here, because here's a G chord coming from this full bar chord shape, but just doing the high 3 strings, the B, the G, B, and E strings. Okay, so C major, G major. Then you can do an A minor up here, even further up. Okay, so here's your A minor chord, your just basic bar chord, but just taking the high 3 strings. Alright, and then we can go to an F, which is right here. Okay, now that comes from, the F bar chord. So just the high 4 strings. Okay, so we have C major, G major, A minor, F major. Or we can go down, or we can mix and match, whatever you want. Okay, so we went from bonus. Alright? You can do this with any chord progression. You can do this with any chords, okay? There's always going to be multiple shapes for any type of chord, major, minor, and even for the more complex chords, like the seventh chords and the extended chords and all that stuff. There's going to be different shapes. It's just a combination of notes. It's just easiest to demonstrate this example using major and minor chords because they have clearly defined shapes known as the CAGED shapes, okay? So, check out those lessons if you're not sure about the CAGED shapes, or if you're not sure what I'm talking about, or if this is a little too advanced for you. But if you do know what I'm talking about, then this is something you can definitely apply to your playing, both rhythmically and even for your leads, okay? Because knowing where these chord shapes are, you being aware of what the underlying chord is in the rhythm section, you now have a new framework in different areas of the guitar to kind of, solo. So when the C chord's occurring, you kind of know, here's a C chord. When the G chord's occurring, you kind of know that there's some notes of the G here, there's some notes of the G here. Okay, you see what I'm saying? It's just kind of a new mental map of what your available chord tones are for soloing. So I don't want to ramble on too much about this topic, but hopefully if this was helpful, if I left anything out or if this was confusing, hit me up with questions and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks a lot.